What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's One Piece chapter review, and in this week's video we're going to be talking about One Piece chapters 905 and 906. Now, instead of what we're usually doing in most of our videos, which is summaries and reviews, I'm just going to be talking about some things that happened in chapters 905 and 906, and going to be talking about some theories I have. Now, for starters, King Stelly is a dick. Now, I know he was a dick ever since he was first introduced to us when we saw him in Sabo's childhood, but I was hoping growing up that he would mature and that arrogant, pretentious attitude of his would at least become slightly more mild, and that he would have some type of fighting ability, as he got older. I mean, we saw this in Sabo, we saw this in Doflamingo. I was just hoping that we would see this in Stelly, and, maybe it's just, Sabo and Doflamingo are like outliers. They're just, in my opinion, a pretty good example of what a lot of, celestial dragons or nobles in the One Piece universe could accomplish if they just invested the time to actually gain fighting ability, or actually just invested their time in actually getting some useful skills instead of just sitting around and thinking that they're better than everyone. I mean, if the celestial dragons was half as strong as Doflamingo is physically, then I could understand the superiority complex that they have and that they perpetuate within, their world and their culture and so on and so forth. But they're just literally a bunch of lazy fucks sitting in bubbles, buying up people off the streets and, throwing people into slavery and shooting people whenever they feel like it. And, that's why I'm just like, well, if they all die out, they get what's coming to them. Like, I really wish Doflamingo did succeed with his plan, and I kind of would like to see Doflamingo just slaughter all the celestial dragons just for GP. But that's besides the point. Getting back to the chapters. We all know that flock of crows heading towards King Stelly's bubble was Karasu. I have no doubts about it before. We saw in Dressrosa that Sabo was being flown on a flock of crows. Now we see not only Sabo's right behind King Stelly, but Karasu's in Mary Joy as well. Now, this brings up another thing I like to talk about. For a place that houses the celestial dragons, the world government's most significant and most precious caste of nobles, it seems to lack a lot of protection. I mean, a lot of protection. If Sabo's able to sneak in there, Karasu, I can kind of, give him a pass, because the dude can literally disguise himself as a flock of crows or a murder or whatever you want to call it. But how Sabo is able to get in there is beyond me. Then again, this also shows a security hole in Mary Joy. We have to remember that Fisher Tiger, I believe, if I got his name correctly, he was able to absolutely destroy Mary Joy and that one revolt that he led, and free a lot of the slaves and so on and so forth. But he caused a lot of damage. And this guy, he's not, he's not Yonko level, he's not Admiral level, but he caused a lot of damage. And I just don't know. I mean, these guys are able to call forth an Admiral if they get injured. They are supposed to have all this type of power and so on and so forth, but they're the most delicate members of the One Piece universe. We saw this when Luffy punched one of them in the face. We saw this when Zoro was about to kill one. And, the only thing they really have going for them is their reputation. But once you throw that outside of the window, they are pretty much easy pickings. And, I just don't know. I don't know. We have CP0, which is supposed to be stronger than CP9. It's supposed to be the strongest Cypher Pole branch there is. So unless, there's just a crap ton of CP0 agents at Mary Joy just hiding within plain sight that are easily like Shichibukai level or higher, then I think the Celestial Dragons have a severe lack of security in Maryjoy. Sure, you know, the Marine headquarters is right there. Sure, there's a lot of, you know, battleships and everything around there. But that didn't do jack shit to stop Fisher Tiger from destroying it. And besides, Whitebeard brought his whole crew and all of his allies to Marineford, and he absolutely trashed that place. Then Blackbeard almost finished off what Whitebeard started. I feel like if anyone really of Shichibukai level to Yonko level wanted to cause a problem at Maryjoy or Marineford, they would succeed. I mean, no matter what the world government or the Marines want people to believe about how strong they are, and no matter what Fleet Admiral Sakazuki wants to do and how much he's trying to reform the Marines, it doesn't matter. I mean, one of your admirals, you've literally told that he cannot come back to Marine HQ or any other Marine ports until he brings back Luffy and Law's head, which is, it's not going to happen. But somehow he managed to get into a port, and now he's talking with Green Bull, who, his ability is beyond me. It's beyond me anyway, but it just shows like the lack of discipline isn't there. Fujitori's managed to find a port to land in. Fleet Admiral said no, he should not find anything. I just don't think the Marines are as strong as they think they are, and I don't think the world government is as strong as they think they are either. The real thing that keeps the Marines and the world government in power is basically the infighting among the Yonko and the lack of vision from most pirates in the One Piece universe, where you have some of them chasing after riches and some of them wanting to be pirate king, but it's just the infighting amongst themselves, you know, crabs in a bucket. Whenever one of them gets close to One Piece, they get knocked right back down by the rest of the other opponents and the rest of the other rivals. And really, the world government and the Marines are just sitting there watching it all go down. Like, the Marines don't have enough power to wipe out all pirates. The world government doesn't have any power to wipe out all pirates. You know, the revolutionaries are giving as good as they're getting with the world government. And the pirates, well, we saw how Whitebeard and his crew gave the Marines a run for their money. And the Marines only literally came out on top in that situation because Blackbeard managed to kill Whitebeard. Let's just say that in like the smallest sense of the word. I've seen some people argue online Blackbeard is able to throw hands with Whitebeard, but he didn't, okay? He did not throw hands with Whitebeard. He got some good licks in there, but the moment Whitebeard got serious, he was Quake fucking Blackbeard's skull, and that's when Blackbeard's crew came in there and managed to save him in the nick of time. But besides that, Blackbeard is not on that level with Whitebeard, at least Marineford. At that time, he wasn't. But, I don't know. I ran off on another tangent, but the Maryjoy has a severe lack of security, in my opinion. Unless CP0 is right around the corner and is everywhere, I doubt that. But, as we see at Reverie, everybody's getting together, everybody's chatting, you know. You have Rebecca, you have Shirahoshi, you have Nefertari. You know, you have the Luffy fan club pretty much, you know, fangirling about Luffy in that corner. And, you know, you have Wapple and you have everybody else. But we also see at the end of 906, there's these long stairwells leading to this chamber. And there's a straw hat right there. And there's this figure standing over it. And there's a lot of questions I have towards the hat. But here's some of my theories. Okay, if I remember correctly, the world government was formed from originally 20 groups. 20 groups that overthrew an previous civilization or kingdom or something like that. So there's now currently 19. Now, hear me out here. Hear me out. Maybe that one clan is the Will of D, or is the D clan. You know, you have all the other families living in Maryjoy outside of the Nefertari family, if I remember correctly, and the Doflamingo or Don Quixote family. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to get to here. The one group that isn't a part of it all. Maybe that's the D clan, or like the Will of D, because they decided that they no longer wanted to associate themselves with the other 19, celestial families, and they were the most powerful. So maybe the other 19 families ganged up on that one family, and they tried to wipe out all history of it. And, that's why there's the saying, D is the enemy of the gods. Because they used to be a part of the celestial dragons. They used to be a part of that group. They helped them overthrow the previous civilization or the previous kingdom, or so on and so forth. And since they decided to defect from the celestial dragons, their descendants have a certain bloodline in them, or a certain potential in their blood, in their genes, in their lineage, that poses a threat to the rest of the celestial dragons. And, a lot of people have been comparing a lot of people that we have seen in the One Piece universe with D in their name, and some of the similarities that they share, and some of the differences, and they share a lot of similar traits. But, also, maybe that's the national treasure. I don't want to believe that the hat itself is the national treasure that celestial dragons are protecting so much, or that they fear that Doflamingo was going to snitch about so much that they sent an assassin to Impel Down to try to get rid of him. I don't know. I think that would be extremely disappointing if the hat was One Piece. And I think a lot of people have been making that point, that the hat is the One Piece or something like that. But if that hat in that chamber is the national treasure that the celestial dragons are talking about, there better be some type of significant ability behind it. It better grant some type of power to it. And I'm not ruling that out, because as we've seen previously with CP9 arc, we've seen Funk Free, the sword that has that Zoan Devil Fruit that can turn into an elephant. We also have some people speculating that Fujitori's sword has a Devil Fruit ability, and that's why when Fujitora uses his gravity altering powers, he uses his sword, he has a swinging sword, he has to unsheath it, and so on and so forth, to manipulate gravity, because his sword is imbued with Devil Fruit ability. Maybe it's not too far-fetched, I guess, or a stretch of the imagination to say that the hat is imbued with some type of power of command or leadership or something, and it's just stored away in the chamber, in that far-off tower or building, out of secrecy. Who knows? I mean, but I think it's more of a relic of the D clan, and it's sealed away as to prevent the world from remembering the D clan. That's my theory, that that hat is a relic of the clan that used to be a part of the 20 celestial families that helped overthrow the previous generation or previous civilization or kingdom, and the whole history of them was wiped out, and the world government keeps that relic as well, locked away, so nobody the rest of the world can know, unless it's like the celestial dragons. As for Doflamingo and Impel Down, I really hope he doesn't get assassinated. Like, I've heard people say that they hope he dies of radioactive poisoning from Gamma Knife, or they see him return again. And me, I personally want to see him break out of Impel Down, and I really want to see him become a major player later on in the series again. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not want him to turn good. I do not want him to redeem himself. I think Doflamingo had a pretty strong case for why he was such a twisted and evil guy. And two, I'm just tired of the whole Luffy defeats the big bad guy and then they become his friend later on type of thing, like with Crocodile, with Buggy. Sure, they're not exactly his best friends, but I don't want it to be where Luffy has defeated Doflamingo and Doflamingo is now like at least an ally of Luffy's. No, I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be something like, okay, Doflamingo learned his lesson from getting beaten the first time by Luffy and Law, and instead of like, you know, becoming an ally later down the line, that Doflamingo manages to like lay low, build up his power base, build up his network, or, you know, Kaido finds him and then slaughters him, or, you know, there's an epic battle between Kaido and Doflamingo and so on and so forth. I would like to see that. I would rather he escapes, tries to recuperate himself, tries to regain his influence and power within the New World. Kaido finds him and then just massacres him. And then, you know, him becoming just another on-off ally of Luffy's in the future. I think that's a repetitive, boring thing. As for everything else that's happened in 905 and 906 and is going to happen, in my opinion, my theory of what's going to happen, or my theory of what the revolutionaries have planned, I would like it to be something gruesome. I would like it to be, you know, the revolutionary army pretty much assassinating the Celestial Dragons in Maryjoy and just declaring war on the world government that way. Because, I mean, they're practically in Maryjoy right now. They have Sabo there, and Karasu is right there. There's no telling how many other revolutionaries are up in Maryjoy, right up under the Celestial Dragons' noses, right under the world government's noses, right under the Marines' noses, and they don't even know. Or better yet, you know, I think what could be the more likely, situation, I think there's two likely situations. Sabo, Karasu, and the rest of the Revolutionary Army, they make some big speech or declaration at Reverie that the kingdoms, you know, abandon the world government and, you know, the corrupt system that the world government runs on, and celestial dragons and so on and so forth, and let the people rule, or let the people choose their own leadership and choose their own government, or choose how they are governed and so on and so forth like that. Or kidnap the celestial dragons, kidnap the nobles at Reverie, and kind of like, you know, hold them hostage and declare war on the world government that way. I mean, either way is great. You know, I prefer assassinating celestial dragons. Why do this the peaceful way? Let's get bloody about it. You know, this is One Piece. We're in the new world. We're no longer doing things the vanilla way. We're going, you know, the dark way. Okay, we're going down the dark path here. And Kaido said it. There's going to be like Doflamingo said it many times, a war is coming. Kaido said that he wants to start a war to end all wars. The Revolutionary Army now wants to start a war with the world government. So I think the time for war has come. The time for brutality in the One Piece universe has come. A lot of the major players are falling now, and a lot of new players are starting to show up. So there's only big things happening. The next few chapters coming ahead. What are your theories on what the hat means? Do you think it's a relic of the D clan or the D family, or do you think it's the national treasure? Do you think it has some type of power or ability to it, or do you think it's just really nothing at all, or, you know, who knows? Who knows? What is your theories? What do you think the Revolutionary Army is going to do at Reverie? You know, just come up with anything. Any wild ideas would do. This is VM. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye.